In this video, we will cover how to track property data in a spreadsheet and then use that data to map it onto a Google map. We will also get into some advanced techniques for sorting and organizing our property data before we put it onto the Google map. First thing we will do is create some headers. The headers I'm choosing to use here are property name, street address, city, state, zip code, number of units, year of construction, current owner, previous owner, sold date, sell price, price per door, and then any notes you want to add. You can choose to use any column headers you wish to use, any data that you want to collect for the properties you're tracking. I recommend separating out street address, city, state, and zip code. You could put that all in one cell together. I recommend breaking them out for the sorting we will do later on in the video. Now I will enter some sample data. Here I have our property names, address information, number of units, price per door, all the information you want to collect about your property. The easiest way to get this into a Google map is we'll just simply save this sheet as an Excel spreadsheet. If you're using another tool like OpenOffice or something else, just export it as a Excel file. So next we want to go to Maps. The easiest way to go is mymaps.google.com. And that will take you to your Google account's login My Maps. Now, if you don't have a Google account, I think you have to create one to do this. The first thing we'll do when we're here at My Maps is click Create a New Map. Now that an untitled map is open, we will simply click the Import button. We can go to Browse, or you can simply drag the file. I will click Browse, go to my Excel spreadsheet, Open. In this first one, we want to tell it how to locate the properties. So I'm going to use street address, city, state, and zip. Hit Continue. On the next one, we want to know what do we want to name each of the markers on the map. And I want to use the property name to name all the properties. We hit Finish. And now we have jumped into San Antonio, where all of these properties are located, and these markers are our markers. The default map that it uses has lots of data and information that it kind of obscures where our markers are. We have lots of other markers to contend with. So the first thing I like to do is come here to Base Map, and then go down from the default map. I want to go down and select Light Political. This is my preferred map. It shows the streets and all the information, but we don't have any other information except for our markers. And so from here we can see all of our markers. If I click on one of the markers, we get all the property information, and we can go through and click on each property and get its information. This is the most basic way of doing this. I think there's some things we can do to improve on this. One thing you will notice while you're in here, you can click on your map and we can go through and change colors. Like if we wanted to make all of our icons red, everything becomes red. The reason for this is one layer of a Google map. We can add multiple layers to our Google map. And then we can go through each of those layers and rename them to something else. And so now we can have multiple layers, and we can import different data into each layer and turn layers on and off as we choose. So let's go create a new map, and let's do something a little different. So the first thing I'm going to do is select anywhere in our data that we have on our spreadsheet, and I'm going to hit Command T or Control T. On Windows it's Control T, on a Mac it is Command T. That's going to bring up a Create Table window. From here I can tell it, yes, I want to create a table, and it's already highlighted all the data we have on here. My table has headers. It starts off checkboxed. We have created headers for all of our rows. So yes, and we'll just hit OK. Now that has turned our spreadsheet into a table. You can go through and change the way it looks if you don't like the blue highlighting and stuff. That's easy to do. The main thing to notice is we've got little pull-down menus for each row now. And so we could go to each one of these and sort properties. So let's say we want to go to the number of units, and we only want to know units that have less than 75 units. So we can click on this pull down, we can go choose one, less than, and we'll put 75. We'll move this window out of our way. And now we're only seeing properties that have less than 75 units. They're in a order that we entered the property and not in the order of the number of units. So we could easily come up here and say ascending. And now it's reorganized everything into ascending, the least number of units to the most number of units and less than 75 units. So using any of these little pull downs, little search menus, we can organize our data multiple ways. So if we don't want this, we can go down here and clear the filter, and we easily come back to our default. Let's close this window, and let's go over here to sales price per door. I want choose one. We're going to sort, let's do greater than or equal to 100,000 per door. And so now we are getting all of our properties that are over 100,000 per door, and we'll sort ascending. So we got the $100,000 properties. Since we did equal to or greater than, we got the 100,000, and we also got the ones over 100,000 per door. Now, the easiest way to get this into Google Maps is to create a second spreadsheet, and on that spreadsheet, we will copy this data. If we try to import this right now, even though we have it sorted, it will take all of our data. And if we have 100 rows worth of data, it's going to put 100 rows into one layer. But we only want to do individual layers. So now what I've done is created a second spreadsheet. This one is my Google Maps import spreadsheet, and this will be all properties at a sale price over $100,000. So I'll go up here. We've got our sort greater than or equal to 100,000. All of these properties came up. We've sorted them in the order we want. The sorting really doesn't matter. Now we can come over here and we'll just select. We will select these rows, copy them, come down here and paste. That's pretty simple. Now we can save and close this spreadsheet and open the next one. Our next spreadsheet is properties that sold for under $75,000. So we need to go change our sorting. This time we will change to less than or equal to and 75,000. And now we have 4 properties. Again, they're not sorted in any order. The sort order really doesn't matter, so we're not going to change that this time, but you know how to do it. We'll select these rows, copy, paste it below. Now we have our under $75,000 properties. We can close and save this one. And finally, we'll get our properties between $75,000 and $100,000. Do another search, this time between 75,000 less than 100,000. We picked up our $75,000 property and our $100,000 property. We don't want those duplicates. So we're actually going to change this strictly to greater than and less than. And that will get out our $75,000 and our $100,000 properties. Again, we can come and copy, paste, and here we can save all of our $75,000 to $100,000 properties in their own little spreadsheet. If we go back to our original spreadsheet where all of our data is, and you could have 100 properties of data in here, we can go back and clear our filter, and we've still got our 100 property, and we've got all the data that you've collected on your properties. And if you choose, at any point you can add another column in here, put more data, rename that column. You can add and remove and do whatever you want with adding more data, adding more properties. As we start going down, it's going to automatically add the new data to the table that we've created. Now let's go back to our Google Map and see how we can use all of this information in our Google Map. Okay, now let's import our sorted data into Google Maps. We'll go to mymaps.google.com. I have no maps currently, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a new map. We will import data, browse, and since we've created 3 separate little spreadsheets, we can start with our under $75,000 a door properties, import that. We are going to map based on these 4 columns, and then we are going to put a title marker of the property name. So now it's hard to see where our markers are because there's so much data on this map. So the first thing I'm going to do, go to our base map, go down to light political, and now it's easier to find our data. So now there are a few things we can do with this. The default, it comes in as Google Maps import under 75K. We can easily click on that and rename this properties under 75K. We don't need the Excel stuff here at the end. With individual styles selected, we can go through and change the color of each one individually. But since this is one big layer, I think it's better to do them all together. So what we'll do is change individual styles to uniform style. And now under uniform style, we'll change the color and we can make everything orange. So now all of that layer is orange. We can also go here to the uniform styles and set label. We can use the property name. If you have created a different column in your spreadsheet that you like to use as the label, you can use the different column. Just select it. All of your columns will be listed right here. So now we know this orange properties are under 75,000 per door properties. We can go and add a new layer. On this layer, we will import properties 75 to 100,000. Again, all the address information, property name. So now we've got a bunch of new blue markers. We can go change them, or uniform, property name, and let's give these a custom color of yellow. We can also change the icon. We can use a house icon instead of the default. And let's add a third layer, our over $100,000 properties. And again, we've added some new blue markers. And we can also change these to orange houses. So now we have 3 different layers. We can easily turn layers on and off. We can add more layers. You can share this with other people. There's lots of information you can do. And we can change this from untitled map to San Antonio properties. We can add a description. So now you have a map set up. It's a little bit more detailed than just the basic map. Hopefully that helps get you started. So as time goes by and you add more properties to your list, let's say you've added some new properties to your under 75 list, you can come back through and re-import data, add more items. So there's lots of different ways you can add more information to this specific layer. If you've changed information, you could update the data for the matching white items and just replace the matching items. You've got lots of options for adding more properties to each separate layer. I hope this helps. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask.